Hi, friends. Welcome back to Connected from Afar. Today, I am going to dig deep into feminine energy. I want to set the tone for you today that I'm going to help you bring you back to you. That's my goal. Your feminine energy is you, and it has not gone anywhere. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Janelle. We have bonded as millennial women, as moms, wives, as coaches, and as students of life, all while finding the humor in the chaos. This is us unpacking and externally processing the ever evolving and growing baggage of life. Join us in the conversation.
Have we mentioned that we've never actually met in real life? We are connected from afar. So, Janelle, you reached out and you're like, hey, will you do a master class or some education on feminine energy? Because it's been something that I just keep talking about randomly in our conversations.
Yeah, it piqued my interest the other day. This is something that, it's just one of those things that keeps like nagging at you. Like it keeps popping up. You keep hearing little snippets, and I'm like, what does that actually mean? So I'm like, Nicole's done this work. Maybe I should just ask her and get her to teach us. So please, I would love to hear you share what you've learned, what you teach. Yeah, and just soak up all your wisdom.
All right. So, okay, today will be a little bit different. I have a little presentation off to the side. I will refer back to it just so I can stay on topic. And Janelle and I talked about this before. When Janelle has questions or anything that comes up, she will mention them. So there'll still be a little bit of back and forth, but we'll try and stay on topic. And my goal here today is to really, like I said, bring you back to you, introduce this feminine energy, but also really dive into the masculine energy that we as women have created as our default, and also how that's hindering us from being our most authentic self. Because I want you to think of like masculine energy for us women as almost like this shield of protection keeping us from us. And yeah, so let's see. My intention, I wrote this out to help you release the pressure to constantly do, achieve, or fix. And I want you to step into your feminine flow. So when you think of being feminine, it's all about flow, adapting, belief, not masculine, which would be controlling and all of those things. And the truth here is you also don't need to be hustling to be powerful. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. These are some misconceptions that I think, you know, the world has put out there, and that's just simply is not true. So what is feminine energy? It is the energy of receiving, allowing your softness, your intuition, and your flow. So even just saying those words, it already feels so much softer, so much more gentle. Like ease is another word that comes to mind. It just feels more at ease. And for me, it also feels like my nervous system can just take a breath. Like my body can just be like, okay, like I don't need to try and be controlling everything. And it's also not about being weak or passive. It's very much about trusting yourself, connecting to your body, your emotions, and your inner wisdom. And it's important to know that your feminine energy is super magnetic. So if you're somebody that is seeking abundance or seeking a new job or a new relationship, your best power, your tool that you have right now is to step into that feminine energy, because that is when you are the most magnetic. And the second that that masculine energy takes over is when we're cut off from source energy, as women particularly. So we don't want to chase this power. We want this power to be like an inner knowing for ourselves. So we all have both energies, men and women. And it's important as I continue through this, and I'm talking feminine energy, masculine energy, These are not genders. These are energetic states. And the goal is for us to have a good balance of both. And it's just from society and conditioning and programming that us women end up living way more into our masculine side. So think of like the yin and yang. Like that's kind of where we want to be. And anytime I learned this actually through having like Reiki sessions, which are very energy driven. Our masculine energy is actually on the right side of our body, and
Mm.
our feminine energy is on the left side. So if you're wondering what that is, like I think my heart is my feminine side. So remembering like the heart is more on the left side and feeling into that, because through this entire process, this is not just like a state of doing. In fact, this is the complete opposite because doing is masculine. This is a state of allowing and feeling into your body, like truly embodying these feelings of receiving and softness. So let's dive into. Do you have any questions so far?
No, but I just have this visual. Sorry, this is how my brain works. I start to like associate like visual pictures to what
Hmm.
people are saying to remember things. And in my mind, as you were saying, like right is masculine, left is feminine. I'm like, I would hold my shield, my protection in my left to protect my heart, and I would
Yeah.
fight the shit with my sword on the right
Yeah.
side. So that's sorry.
No,
I'm
that's
trying not to
awesome.
laugh in the background as I'm like envisioning myself. I don't know, some like knight, woman, warrior.
Yeah, which you would want your masculine for, right? Like
Yeah.
you would want all of that to come through. Absolutely. I'm like, no, that's great. I love that. Okay, so we're going to get into the differences of masculine versus feminine. I'm going to cover quite a few, so be ready. I don't know if it makes more sense. You tell me, Janelle, as the
Okay.
listener. Does it make more sense for me to say like parallels, like here's masculine, and then if the opposite of that would be the feminine, like go side by side, or should I just go down all of masculine traits and then all of feminine traits?
If there are parallels, it would be nice to know what they are.
Okay, there are a
Um,
lot of parallels.
yeah, so I think it would be great to hear both sides of the yin and yang of those each characteristics.
Okay, great.
Are they,
Yep,
sorry, I should ask that. Are they actually, do they act as yin and yang, these parallels? Or are they just like comparables?
they're comparables. Yeah, they're comparables, but I want to say this too, how two things can be true at once.
Mm.
And so if we are seeking to have more of a balance, you can have both that masculine and feminine. And the idea is that those together work more powerful, right? So, for instance, the first thing I'm going to talk about is masculine is very like doing, you're achieving, you're going for it, where like feminine is a state of being and allowing. So, perhaps it's, okay, for this presentation that I needed to put together, I needed to do things, right? There was something I needed to do, achieve, and accomplish. But then I also have space for just being, or this space for allowing something to come through that I didn't even know would come up. So there is kind of a balance in that. And I think it's just important to understand that, like, yeah, we have both of these. So a lot of them do go hand in hand. So moving on. So controlling outcomes is also super masculine. And I know for me personally, total control freak. I learned that in the very beginning, right? Like, hello, even in situations where you think you're trying to help, you're actually trying to control. And I thought that was something that was like a beautiful quality that I had. Like, I want to fix things, Like, what do you mean? But it was like, no, that was control. That was to make me feel comfortable. But at the level of which I like was at, I didn't see it that way at all. And so the opposite side of that, the feminine side, is trusting the process, right?
Mm.
Like allowing things to be out of your control completely. So that's, that's beautiful. Masculine is really thinking and being very logical about what's moving, like what you're doing, what's moving on. Where the feminine side, you're going to be feeling, you're going to be intentional, you're going to be listening to your intuition. Let's see. Masculine is also going to be very structured and rigid. Hi, that was me. I remember at one point when we were in school and I learned that I was like an all or nothing girl. It's like all or nothing. I'm either 1,000% in or I'm not fucking in at all. And like down to even things of like working out. I remember going to Orange Theory and there's people next to me and they had no clue, but I was in a competition with them, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like so rigid. I had to do it and I had to be there every day at 5 a.m. and I had to do better. And just all of this stuff where your feminine energy is all about flow. It's all about just what feels right and like accepting that every single day, especially as women, and we have hormones and our cycle and everything. Every single day is going to look different. And the beauty and being in your feminine space is allowing for that flow to change and for you to be like, well, I thought I was going to have the energy to do a strength class, but I actually only have the energy to walk around the block once. And then I think I need to come home. Or maybe I need to do nothing at all. So just being adaptable, which is also feminine, which is what I was just talking about. So also pushing and hustling, very masculine, very got to get the job done, pushing forward, plowing through, like no matter what, just go, go, go. The opposite side of that, our favorite word we've been talking about the past week, you and I, surrender,
Mm.
surrendering. We don't need to know the answers, right? And in fact, the more pushing and the more rigid and the more hustle and the more we're like, I need this answer right now, we are cut off from source when we are in that space. We are not at all in flow or in a space to even surrender because we're like, I need an answer and I need an answer now.
Yeah.
Well, that isn't how it works. We trust me, I do it quite often. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go and sit and meditate and I'm gonna get that answer right now. And then I get fucking nothing. And then all of the sudden, I'm at the grocery store picking up a piece of produce, and ding, the answer comes to me. And I'm like, where'd that come from? Well, because I wasn't forcing it, I was allowing space to just come through. It's really back to trusting the process. It's really about trusting the process, like believing that it is going to come to you when you're meant to have it.
Yeah.
Also, being super independent and having this solo power, not solar. I don't know anything about solar. Solo. So I actually was just making a post about this the other day, but about like, I'm a strong, independent woman. I found so much power in that. But also, when I was saying that, there was an energy behind it when I was saying it. And it was, I don't fucking need anyone's help. I don't want anyone's help. I will do this on my own, and I'm strong. And that was very conditioned behavior for me of hearing outside people, don't rely on anyone, only rely on yourself, which, you know, can be good, but not at the same time. So the opposite of that, when we're in our feminine, we're collaborators. We want connection. We crave connection. We thrive on connection and collaboration and communities and bringing people together. That is our literal superpower as women is connection. And again, there can be space for both of these, right? Like doing what we do as coaches, that's a space for solo power, right? Like we're doing that. But on the flip side of that, what are we also working towards? Community, collaboration, bringing in other people, and how beautiful that looks. And so there's that kind of yin and yang of what that looks like. But if you're only expecting yourself to have all the answers, to show up solo, and you're the almighty, queen of it all, you're not going to go as far, because you're not connected to source. You're not connected to your true essence as a woman, which is collaboration and connection. Also, fixing, solving, right? We talked about this a minute ago, like constantly that need to fix things, fix other people, fix, stuff around the house, fix ourselves, just that constant need of fixing, where on our feminine side, what that looks like is holding space, is nurturing. We don't need to fix anything. We actually just need to hold space for someone else. Hold space, nurture them, right? Again, that is our innate feature as a woman. And then you throw being a mom in there. We are nurturers by design. That is where we stem from when you think about it. And we want to be connected to that, because then we're more gentle on ourselves, our kids, our life, living in that space of nurturing. To me, I love, because I think I had also cut myself off from that. Like even witnessing myself being a nurturer, but feeling this pull to, it just didn't feel, not that it didn't feel genuine, but it felt forced. Like this has to be my role. Where now that I am doing more work and stepping into being more in that feminine energy alignment, it's like I enjoy nurturing and holding space. And I really couldn't do that before, because I did want to fix things. And it's not my job. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not.
Yeah, I just like this is something I've been thinking a lot about because I am a fix it, reactive, like parent, mom. Just noticing now more and more now as like the kids are starting to come into that age where things are happening, they're not wanting to tell us everything. And noticing that they are holding back a little bit. And I'm like, ooh, because in the past I've wanted to fix their behavior, fix their mindset, or like if I didn't agree, or I shouldn't say not agree, but like want them to be enlightened, I'd have to preach to them
Yeah,
versus allowing them to come to me and just express and unpack it for themselves and just be that space, like you said, that space, that nurturing, not trying to fix their problems or their mindsets or whatever it is, but allow them to experience and just nurture that environment. And now I'm almost having to backpedal and regain that trust a little bit with them.
sure.
Yeah. I like how you put that, that those are the parallels. I see it.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, as a fixer, I get it. I was right there too. Like, I know, I have the answer for you. Let me tell you what you should do, and this will make it better. And it's like, that's what worked for me, which is beautiful and great for us to be able to share our experiences. And most of the time, not most, it can resonate, but oftentimes it's so far off. It's like, no, I actually just needed you to sit there.
Yeah.
So again, like kind of with our shield, our shield and our sword here, masculine is very protective. It's super protective. It's providing. And so again, there's that space for that. And your feminine side is going to be super like expressive, less, it's very creative. It's less, needing to protect, and more being able to just show up kind of as you. Okay, so here are some masculine energy roles that we do like in our everyday life. And I'll kind of just run through these and we'll kind of see what comes up. So, planning every second of your day, right? That's that control. Not asking for help even when we're drowning. We're like, I will sit here and drown instead of asking someone for help. Heaven forbid I need help. I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need help. I'll do it on
Oh,
my own, right? Feeling guilty for everyone listening, all the way in the back, everyone, Feeling guilty for resting.
Yes.
Oh my God, right? Like how much like that is so ingrained. I don't know how your parents were. I still to this day, my parents are the most hardest working people I have ever met in my life. Like there is not a rest, chill bone in their body. Like they have to physically leave their home in order for that to happen and come like if they come to my house and it's like, "Ah, I can't do shit here, you know? Like you have to sit there. If there's something to do, they are doing it. And that was very ingrained in me. So anytime I would rest or I had a split second to just have to myself, feeling major guilt for doing that. Uh,
Justifying it. I find for
yes.
me it's the justification of needing to rest or wanting to rest. Like even just something as simple as I'll have sometimes it's I've only been sitting for like 2, 3 minutes, but if Murray comes home and I'm sitting on the couch reading a book or something, I'll like jump up, feel guilty, and like pretend I was doing something. I'm like, what am I doing? He doesn't care, first of all. Like it's
Oh
such
my
a,
God.
but it's the guilt inside our head of someone caught me resting.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
had to like literally play with this one because a million percent did what you just mentioned. Always like I hear the car door outside and I'm like, oh, he's home. That means I need to shut the TV off, get up, and like, oh, hi, and it's like, even if I just get up to meet him at the door, you
Yes.
know, and so that has been an active practice for me because I realized that I'm like, Nicole, you are gonna sit here and you are just going to allow him to see you sitting. Or like if he's home and I am deciding to not do work that day and deciding to just have a me day, like Nicole, put on Housewives or whatever crap TV, which I know I don't want to watch around him. Like he's out there working. He can see you sitting down. He doesn't say shit. He doesn't care. It was always me the whole time. So
Yeah.
I totally, totally recognize that. Hustling to earn love and worth. So that approval from everyone else, we got to keep hustling. We got to make sure that they see us so that we feel worthy, so that we feel love. It's that chase of seeking outside approval is just a detriment to us as women. It really is. And I know that I'm totally guilty of doing that, a million percent guilty. And then the last thing I'm going to mention is staying in your head 24/7, just thinking that you're going to solve the world's problems in your head and not using the community, right? Not using your people to
Mm.
go to. Like, let's get through this. So, in that masculine state, you're feeling solo, you're feeling independent. I got to work through this, I got to do this on my own. Some things we do, but if it's a detriment to you and you actually need help, you need to, the goal is to get to that space of being able to ask for help.
So would you say that like men are, like the solo, I don't want to say hunters or protectors or um like they are more ingrained to be solo um achievers essentially. Like
Hmm.
they're programmed to work alone, to be able to work alone, whereas women is more tribe
Yes.
programmed. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's from what I'm learning or experiencing, right? Because although, like I said, these are energetic spaces, these are not genders, but like men living in their masculine is different than us because that's their natural state, where our
Right.
natural state is femininity, being connected to source. And yeah.
Hmm.
So, how did we get stuck in this default masculine role? So much of this was taught from conditioning, programming, people around us. I think too of like society rewarding masculine traits, like you're strong, you're independent, if we're going to continue with these same types of words, versus, women having emotions. You're too sensitive. you're weak. Well, who wants to be sensitive and weak when you can be strong and independent? So it's like that's the conditioning from society of like us having to hold down our emotions or being sensitive and hiding from that because societies claim that is weak. And if we're already struggling with our self-worth, well, we don't want to also feel weak, you know? It's like let's just add all these things up together and to recipe for disaster, right? Trauma or and survival mode can put these masculine traits into overdrive. If I don't do it, no one will, or they're not going to do it as good as I'm going to do it. So I bet I'll just take it all on myself. Let's see. Being in our masculine feels safe for many women, but it's exhausting and it disconnects us from our truth. So, like I said in the beginning, where it's like this masculine role is this shield, that shield is also our protection. We don't have to be seen if we're hiding behind that shield. And by lowering that shield, connecting to source, connecting to our, you know, our higher self and bringing in that feminine energy, we are becoming more vulnerable, more open. And as we're doing that and creating that space for ourselves, we're also creating that space for other women around us to hopefully help them lower their shield. Like we don't need to be living in these masculine roles because it's keeping us safe, which is good to a point until it's not, right? Like once you have that awareness of this is keeping me this safetyness is actually keeping me stuck from being the person I meant to be, well then it's not serving you anything before I move on to more like feminine stuff.
No, but I'm just like, holy crap, am I stuck in my, like, even in my analogy of like the sword and the shield, and like, I'm
Hmm.
like, my feminine still has the shield protecting
Yeah.
myself. Yeah. So
Yep.
it's a lot of undoing of natural tendencies, or taught tendencies, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so I'm glad that you just made that distinction because it is not the natural. That's not our actual essence of who we are, right? Like you said, that's our taught version of who we are. Which when I start thinking about it really deep like that, it just makes me sad that our beautiful qualities that we have and our beautiful traits have been smothered down for so long when they're just beautiful. And you know, it's just it's sad, but it is what it is. And now it's our job in 2025 to shine light on this shit so that us women can be more powerful because we are more powerful when we're stepping and living into our feminine side rather than being stuck in these masculine traits.
So is there a balance between, can there be a balance between like utilizing our more masculine energy, like even just thinking like mama bear, protecting our kids, protecting the ones we love. I know that's like, can we live in both, I guess.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's again thinking back to that yin and yang, right? Like that's exactly where it's at. We've done this part of only living in our masculine. So bringing in this feminine energy is to help create that balance of we can be the protector and the nourisher. But the problem is we've just been the protector. Or we can be, you know, an independent person, but we can also ask for help and we can also receive information from other people. So you can have the balance of both. Just us innately as women are more powerful when we have that feminine side of us that is living side by side with that masculine energy. And so it's just more so just been hidden, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can kind of see how if it's more like swung more to the masculine energy, it can become almost a toxic thing where that's where we automatically what power we draw on.
Hmm.
Yeah, of the it's like it's not that in being independent is not a strength that women can have, but that we don't need to do that to prove anything.
Exactly. And when we're living in that state, that's how we're showing up, the need to prove. Where when you're living in your feminine state, it's a state of knowing. It's a state
Mm.
of believing in yourself that no one else needs to even know about. There's no like proving because you feel it in your body and in your soul. You know it's there. All right. So what can feminine energy look like in real life? And so I'll go through these kind of like I went through the other ones. We can allow space in our schedules for flow. We can allow space of being adaptable, of not needing to control everything. This has actually came up twice this week with two different clients of mine, so I'm just going to bring this into it. Traveling. Think of all the things you have to control, right, to make the travel happen. There are most certainly things that have to happen, booking flights, booking hotels, cars, whatever that is. But what happens if we're living into our masculine side, we're living in our head, and now we're stuck knowing we have all these things to do, and then also thinking about all the what ifs, what if, what if, what if, what if, what if. That is keeping us from ourself. Where if we have this travel, we have these things, we look at it more of like a broad view. Okay, here's the broad picture of what I'm doing. Here's all the events, all the activities. Great. Now, my job after planning, getting those things in order, now my job is to settle back into my body, take one step at a time, and go with the flow, go with the process. And if something comes up and derails me, I'm going to be adaptable and I'm going to find a new path. It doesn't need to be this rigid structure of all these things that need to go right to get me to where I need to be. Asking a friend or a partner for support. Again, connection, collaborating. That opens up a space to receive. If we are actually asking for help, then we're in the state of receiving. Receiving is one of the most powerful feminine traits that we have because we are really good at giving and not as good as receiving in most cases when we are stuck in that role, right? So receiving is a beautiful gift without the need to now I got something and now I need to make sure that I help them in a future time. Like just receiving. And it just is what it is. And they helped me and it was great. And I love that. Thank you. Moving on. Like I don't owe them anything. I don't need to be overly thankful. You can have gratitude, sure, but like it doesn't need to be further than that. You can just live in a state to be able to receive help. Also, little things like taking naps, going for a walk, making a bubble bath, like taking time to enjoy yourself, loving life, living life, like really I think I said this in another slide, but I'm going to say it now anyways. It's like falling in love with life, loving it so much that you want to show up for it and that you want to provide for yourself. So it's I want to take a nap. You know what would sound so good to my body right now? Like a hot bubble bath with some, whatever Epsom salt, some essential oils, light a candle. Like that would be so good for my soul and that feels good. I'm going to do that for myself. Do things for yourself and allow that state of embodiment to come through with that. Maybe it's even like, wanting to look super cute for no reason. Like all I'm doing today is going and picking up the kids, but God damn it, I'm going to do my hair, my makeup, and I'm going to put on a killer outfit. And you know what? I'm going to get out of the car today. I'm going to get out of the car and I'm going to walk up and I'm going to get my kids. So everyone can see how cute I look. And then I'm going to come back. Just like little things like that. Like allow yourself to feel good in yourself, to feel good sensually, to feel good from pleasure. Allow these things. Also, feeling your emotions without fixing them. The state
Mm.
of surrender. I'm allowed to just feel angry, and I don't need to do anything about it right now. I'm allowed to feel sad. I actually was listening to this podcast yesterday and I thought it was super funny and I loved this, how we end up saying like, I'm angry or I'm sad. And she was saying like, it's funny because we're not actually that emotion. We're experiencing that emotion. So she went to say like when your stomach hurts, you don't say like, I'm stomach hurt. You say my stomach hurts. And so she started to flip that and she was explaining this in a funny story, but her husband did something and she got angry and he said like, are you angry with me? And she goes, body is angry. And she goes, we both just started dying laughing. But, she's like, that's how I've started to handle it because it's helped me remove myself, kind of like from that emotion. So it's like, yeah, I don't need to fix this. Right now, body is angry. Body is frustrated. I am not
Yeah.
those things. I thought that was super funny and just so relatable. And I'm like, I'm using that. Body is angry. And let your body be the guide to you. Again, wearing what feels good, eating intuitively, listening to your body, listening to your heart, connecting to yourself. This is that feminine space, the not living in your head, but living in your heart, living in the being of you, the essence of you. Let's see. This is just a little bit more of that, what it looks like to live in your feminine energy. I'll kind of go through these quick so we don't have to. Anyways, you trust yourself and life more. You trust, there's a trusting, right? You
Mm.
follow your intuition instead of just your logic. You connect with that. You start listening. Those little nudges you start leaning into instead of thinking you need to figure out every plan and everything that could go wrong before you make your first step. You just follow it and just know it's going to be what it is. You say no without over explaining. It just is, right? This is just what I need to do. Maybe you need to say yes. Maybe you need to say no. Like, what is that? Listen to your body. Be connected to yourself. You receive help, compliments, money, and love without guilt. Huge thing with compliments. Just accept a compliment from somebody. You know, how often we are so like, oh, oh, this old thing. Oh, I got it on sale at Target for $3. It's like they don't need to know that. And like we're all guilty of that. It's like just accept the compliment. Thank you. And you actually don't need to return the favor. You can
Yeah.
just allow that to be. Thank you. That's it. And it will feel uncomfortable at first because I remember the first time I said that, I was like, like
Yeah.
trapped in my body of like wanting to tell him where I got it, wanting to be like, well, your sunglasses are cute, or like whatever. It's like, no, we're here to receive. We can just receive a compliment and it be okay and it feel good, and we don't need to return the favor or feel guilty or anything like that.
Can I share something? You said something even
Please.
earlier too about like receiving help, receiving gifts or whatever, compliments, and it all kind of falls in the same. So someone shared, sorry, let me gather this thought here. When you do that, when you deflect or feel like you have to give back exactly what you've given, or someone gives you a gift and you're like, oh, I got to get them something next time, you actually rob them the gift of giving.
Mm-hmm.
Of you rob them of that experience to do that for someone else. And I thought that
So
was such an
true.
interesting way of looking at it, whether it's a compliment or a people aren't doing it to, I mean, some people do it to fish, but most people, the intention is because it makes them feel good to do that for you, and you rob them of that when you return it. It's almost like throwing it back at them. Like you
Hmm.
shouldn't have. Like it's not about should, is I wanted to. This is
Yeah.
not expected of me. I would love to do this, and it means a lot to me to do this for you or share this with you, or um, even helping and accepting help. You rob them of the opportunity to connect with you, or to showcase their strengths, or share their expertise or whatever it is, when we're like, no, no, I got this, I'll figure it out by myself. You lose that connection, and that, like, you rob them of that opportunity to do something nice for someone else. And isn't that what we preach, is like kindness, like random acts of kindness. We tell
Hmm.
people, or like I teach my kids to do that. So you rob them of that opportunity when it's not accepted, when you don't accept it, or you don't, if it's offered, just take it,
Hmm.
and it's
Yeah.
okay.
I love that you said that because it is true. Because you think about how good it feels to give. And then if that's it, like you said, it is a robbing. It's like, and now it's gone. You know,
Yeah.
now I did something nice and now they feel they need to
Yeah.
compensate, do it back. And it's like, no, this was just for you. Okay, so moving on, we want to create space for rest, for play, for pleasure. Take time to be silly. Take time to connect to yourself. Be creative, right? Like I said, be sensual. Allow yourself to experience pleasure. That is your gift. You were born with getting to experience that. And I know for certain us women have done a really good job of not allowing ourselves to experience pleasure. And before anything goes further, I realize there are a lot of things that could have been in the way that hindered us from experiencing pleasure. But I want to say that is your birthright. Pleasure is for everybody. And we as women should get to experience that, whether that's with ourself, our partner, whatever that looks like, create space for that. If healing needs to be involved so you can get to a space of enjoying that, give yourself that gift. It's a well worth gift.
And don't control it.
And don't control it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. That is an unbecoming for me, is trying to control the pleasure instead of just receiving. Same thing. It's just like it's okay just to receive.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I think about with this, and it's more about just kind of like even intimacy. I think about all the times from conditioning and programming of my husband coming up behind me to, give me a hug or to kiss me or whatever, and me immediately like, ugh, like coming in, coming inward, like, oh God, like, okay, and it's like underneath all of that, if you're listening to this and you can't see me, I'm like dodging it, right? I'm dodging his love and affection towards me because deep down I'm thinking I don't deserve this, or this is bad, all the shame that goes with it and all of these things. And one day I caught myself doing that, and it's like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, my husband is a clear safe space for me. He loves me dearly. Nicole, what would it feel like to lean into that? And I remember like easing my body and like laying my head back on his chest and like allowing him to just, give me a kiss or like whatever it was. And it was this whole like awakening for me of holy shit, I have been dodging this unconsciously up until this moment because that was just my natural state. You touch me, I dodge, which is terrible. But again, I had a bunch of trauma sexually that I had to work through that, I needed to get to a space of being there. But so, yeah, that's what comes up. And it's like even small gestures like that, just allow that love, allow someone to give you love and connection. And on that note, also like allowing yourself to express yourself, to go
Mm.
deep, to be open, to be vulnerable. This is who we are at our most feminine level, is we are deep creatures. Janelle, I could not tell you what your favorite color is. I couldn't tell you what your favorite food is. Like you and I, we don't talk, like n there is nothing surface about our relationship. I can
Yeah,
tell you
that's so true.
deep shit about you. You know, I can tell you, I can do that because that's how we are. That's our deep connection. And that's how we show up in like our friendship, which is so lovely. And I don't want to fucking know what your favorite food is until we're eating it together. Like, I don't care, right? Like, that's great and all, but it's like, really? Because I can tell you, you know, what upsets you or things that get to you. And like, that's just so much more impactful. And so that's our feminine space, like coming together, knowing that you and I are a safe space for each other. We have each other, we hold space, and we're like, hey, I'm struggling with this. And that's been our connection since the day we met in a coaching session, which is
Yeah.
so beautiful, right? And you also attract aligned people and opportunities with ease, back to that being magnetic. When we're in our state of femininity, we are magnetic. We are attracting people, the right people in our life, the right opportunities, the right events, the right things. Like we're open to it because we're not closed and trying to control everything. I have to make $1,000 this week. I have to get that title in my job. I have to be the best mom. I have to like all that control is cutting us off. So being in flow, being open aligns us with the correct people in our life and correct opportunities. Yes. What is coming up for you before I move on?
Mm. Just, it's funny. It's like this is not new information, but
Right.
sometimes we get so far disconnected from it that it feels new and raw again. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we go through different seasons. We start something new that maybe takes a little bit more hustle, a little bit more grit to achieve the things we want to achieve, and so we get more into. Or I should speak for myself. I feel like coming like I've drawn a lot more on my masculine energy, and to the point where it's now like it's detrimental. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
actually sucking everything, all the joy out of my life, all of the things that feel natural to me, the intuition, which is, I mean, what I do in coaching, like it's just like that. And of course, that element is where I feel the most empowered and the most myself. And I just like things just flow through me and it feels so natural and real. And then as soon as I get into certain areas where I'm trying to achieve goals in a certain way and like so I feel like I have to hustle and it like it sucks the life out of everything to the
Mm-hmm.
point where I'm like hiding under the bed type of thing. I just feel so weighed down by the weight of my armor
Yeah.
that I'm suffocating sometimes, you know, and then I'll have like a moment where I'm just draw like it just naturally draws out my feminine energy and I'm like, oh, I feel so alive. I feel so yeah, I just feel so empowered and so full of energy and light and love and it just like radiates and yeah. So it's just I guess catching it early and even though we like you to your point you said we can utilize these things with like our masculine energy with intention but just remembering to make space and make sure we come back to the feminine energy and allow it to refill us, to
Yeah.
just to replenish us with what we need in order to have those small bursts to utilize our masculine energy. Just don't stay there. Don't let it
Mm-hmm.
suck the life out of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And in that same statement, it's like anything with your personal growth journey, it's being curious.
Yeah.
It's being curious about the feelings you're experiencing, the thoughts you're having, the beliefs you have in play, the actions you've continued to take over and over. It's being curious. Where does this come from? Why do I keep doing that? How is this serving me? Oh, it's not anymore. Oh, that's a condition. Oh my God, that's been programmed in me since I was 7. Oh my God, I remember that moment. Like, I can release this and let it go, and I can move into a state of being more feminine now. I can release that. And being curious is, as we know, just like the biggest process to our growth. Because if we're not
Yeah.
curious, then we're stuck and we're just having the same freaking thoughts over and over and over and over. So I made a fun little slide for this one, which you cannot see, but I want you to visualize a suitcase. And I'm going to tell you the things that you need to let go of so that you can start stepping into your feminine energy. We're going to put them in this suitcase, and then we're going to lock this suitcase up, and we're going to put on a plane. And the plane is taking it away from us, okay? We are no longer using this suitcase, so we don't want it. Okay, so we need to let go, and a lot of these are going to be, we've talked on them, but we're just being very like, this is what we need to let go of. We need to let go of controlling every detail. We have to stop. We need to get in flow. We have to allow things to not go our way. Boom. We need to stop consistently doing, fixing, planning, and solving. We also need to let go of that rest is laziness. We need to let go of over giving and being a people pleaser, which is huge and a big project, but we have to let go of it. We at least need to bring awareness to it so that we recognize the over giving, right? Like, what did I give to myself before I gave to someone else? If that's even a thought that we can have first, that's going to help us. We need to let go of the fear of being seen as too much or not enough. We have to let go of that so we can move into a state of being, into a state of this is who we are. And every crazy trait of mine, silly trait, low trait, high, like everything about me is great and unique and beautiful to me. And we need to let go of the guilt around slowing down and receiving support. We need to allow ourselves to receive all the things: help, love, money, pleasure, even pain, right? Like, don't hide it anymore. We need to just allow that space. And letting go of these things, again, brings you back to the true essence of yourself, which in this life, if you're doing the work, that is the work. The work is coming back and connecting to the true you. And so, why feminine energy serves you as women? It brings you back to your true self, like we talked about. It deepens self-trust and connection to your body. Being truly in alignment with being feminine is full embodiment, is really being connected to your body. It strengthens relationships through authenticity and also being vulnerable. Our relationships are going to a deeper level because we're not living in the surface. We are increasing our magnetism by living in this feminine space. We're allowing abundance and love and opportunities to come our way simply by doing less and more being open to it. Again, not being, I have to hustle and do all these things in order to be gifted what I want. It's like, no, sometimes it's by doing less that you actually get connected to where you're being a magnet to what it is that you're wanting. And it just all around makes you feel good. Okay, we're good?
Yeah.
Anything? Okay.
No, that was really nice to hear today. Thank you.
So, what it looks like to embody your feminine energy. Again, I'm kind of covering these, but just by simply owning who you are, trusting your desires, not having shame around them, right? Trusting that you know what's best for you, allowing your light to shine bright. Allow yourself to walk into a room and be the light. Owning your softness, owning the soft side of you, nurturing that. We know that we can end up nurturing other people, but nurture this soft side of you. Take time to be the love of your life. Love yourself. Love yourself more than you love anyone else, because at the end of the day, all we have, truthfully, is ourself. So taking the time to love ourself and being the biggest priority is that embodiment, right? Connecting to your playful side, dancing, singing, whatever that looks like. You know, the other day my daughter was having a moment and I said, "Get up. We got to jump on your bed." And she's looking at me, and I'm like, "We're jumping on the bed. What other mom says you're allowed to jump on the bed?" Like, cool mom. No, I'm just kidding. But allow yourself to be fun and silly and expressive and creative. Give yourself the permission to be who you are, not seek outside approval from other people or that they're telling you, yeah, that's the right decision. Trust yourself. Trust you're making the right decisions for you. Let someone else lead a project. Let someone else lead that trip, that event. Don't feel you have to carry the weight of every activity or everything that comes into your life. Let someone else take the lead role. See what it feels like. What I've learned in that experience is sometimes they end up doing it way better than I do
Yeah.
because their brain thinks things my brain doesn't think. And what a beautiful thing, because it's like, wow, I thought what I was going to do was good, but what they did was even way better. I never even thought about that. Where did that come from? So there's beauty in that. Allow that to happen. And again, own your pleasure, your creativity, own your voice, allow it to be heard. This is that feminine state. And I think I've kind of tapped into a lot of this. So, more ways that you can, come into that feminine space is everything I've covered today from, you know, being funny, being silly, connecting to yourself. I think building confidence is a huge one. That's where that belief system comes from. And so, in order to build confidence, you want to show up for yourself. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Even little things. I always tell my clients, find the smallest thing that you can say, I'm going to do this, and do it. Maybe you decide, I'm going to wear lipstick today because that feels good to me. Wear lipstick. Like it was something you said you were going to do and you did it. It does not have to be a major event. It can be something small, but you're building that trust within yourself. You can also obviously do breath work. You can do meditation. You can do a free flow writing. All of these things are going to bring you back into yourself. And that's the goal at the end of the day. Or I said rituals and feeling nourishing. So teas, candles, skincare, like whatever it is that feels good to you. Allow yourself space to give you what you are needing. That's it.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
I think those are all, I mean, it's all stuff we've heard, but like to hear it from the side of like the yin and yang of our masculine energy and our feminine energy, and to be able to utilize how we can intentionally utilize our masculine side, our energy, but always remembering to return to our feminine knowing and our intuition. And what we need to thrive is to really nurture that side of ourselves so that we
Hmm.
can go and use our other tools, like using our masculine side almost as a tool. We don't live that, we use it,
Yeah.
but we always come back to our feminine energy. Yeah. Thank you for sharing today.
Yeah. This has lit me up. It's set my soul on fire. It's bringing just a major connection back to myself of how important this information is and how much I want to continue to share it in seeing the women that I work with, seeing friends, just seeing other women that I can see now are living very much in this masculine role. And I can only see it because I lived it, because I was that. And I still have tendencies to fall into that. But now having more awareness and knowing of this other side, it's easier for me to bounce back and to step back into that embodiment of ease and peace and just allowing. So I'm really thankful that you wanted me to teach on this today, and I loved it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And as always, please leave comments, any questions that you have. Like and
Yeah.
subscribe to our channel. We are just getting the ball rolling. I feel like we are getting better and better each week, which has been another really fun growth thing for us.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, friends.